Hello, everybody. Welcome to my podcast. This is a podcast that'll be going over the historical accuracy of Alexander Hamilton, the musical. For our first episode, we will be talking about the very first song in the musical, which is called Alexander Hamilton. And this song is basically a big backstory on who Alexander Hamilton is. So let's take a listen to what it is.
Bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean, by providence impoverished and squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar. The $10 founding father without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter. By 14 they placed him in charge of a trading charter.
And every day while slaves were being slaughtered and carted away across the waves, he struggled and kept his guard up. Inside he was longing for something to be a part of. The brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, or barter.
Then a hurricane came and devastation reigned. Our man saw his future dripping down the drain. Put a pencil to his temple, connected it to his brain, and he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain. Well, the word got around, they said this kid is insane, man. Took a book collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came, and the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton, and there's a million things I haven't done, but just you wait, just you wait.
When he was 10, his father split, full of it, debt-ridden. 2 years later, see Alex and his mother bedridden, half dead, sitting in their own sick, the scent thick. And Alex got better, but his mother went quick.
Moved in with a cousin, the cousin committed suicide, left him with nothing but ruined pride. Something new inside a voice saying, Alex, you gotta think for yourself. He started retreating and reading every treatise on the shelf. There would have been nothing left to do for someone less astute. He would have been dead and destitute without a cent or restitution. Started working for his late mother's landlord, trading sugar cane and rum and all the things he can't afford. Scared for every book he can get his hands on. Planning for the future, see him now as he stands on the bow of a ship headed for a new land. In New York, you can be a new man. New York, you can just you wait. New York, you can just you wait. New York, you can be a new man. New York, just you wait. Alexander Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton. I'm waiting in the wings for you. Waiting in the wings for you. Never back down, you never learn to take your time. Alexander Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton. America sings for you. Will they know what you overcame? Will they know you wrote the game? The world will never be the same. Ship is in the harbor now, see if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his rep, America forgot him. We fought with him. Me, I died for him. Me, I trusted him.
Me, I loved him.
And me, I'm the damn fool that shot him.
There's a million things I haven't done, but just you wait.
What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton.
Alright, so that was the first song in Hamilton, and just from the very first verse, it gives a lot of backstory into who Hamilton is. So it starts off with, how does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean, by providence impoverished and in a squalor, grown up to be a hero and a scholar. So, the first part, him being the quote-unquote bastard. So what that is when a child is born out of wedlock. So when the mother and father are not married. His mother was Rachel Fawcett. She was a French woman, and she was married to a Dutch man at first, and they never legally got divorced. And then she had 2 kids with James A. Hamilton, who was from Scotland, so he was the Scotsman. And they had Alex and then his brother, James Jr. And they lived on an island called Leeward Island that was in the Caribbeans. And then the next part, the $10 founding father without a father. Alexander's father left them when he was young. He left him, his mother, and his brother all together, and just left because he didn't want Alex's mother to get in trouble for not being married to him. So that's why he left. By 14, they placed him in charge of a trading charter. And so when his mother died, the landlord was a trader. And so Alex went under his wing and would work for him, basically. And he was so good at it, they left him in charge there for 5 months at one point. He was in charge of the whole thing. Next part is, when a hurricane came, devastation reigned. Our man saw his future dripping down the drain, put a pencil to his temple, connected to his brain, and he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain. After a hurricane hit Alex's home island, he wrote a letter to his father telling him what happened and how devastating it was to him. And the letter was found by a man by the name of Hugh Knox, who published the letter because he thought it was written so well that it couldn't have been Alex. So he published it, and it just amazed all the whole island's leaders, and so they decided to give him a higher education. So they sent him to New York. The next part of the song goes, well, the word got around. They said, this kid is insane, man. Took a book collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education. Don't forget from whence you came. And the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man? The leaders, as I said earlier, the leaders really liked him and how well spoken he was for being only self-taught. He had no formal education because the church kicked him and his brother out because his mother and father were not married when they were born. And the next part goes, when he was 10, his father split, full of it, debt-ridden. 2 years later, Alex and his mother bedridden, half dead, sitting on their own sick, the scent thick. And Alex got better, but his mother went quick. As I said earlier, Alex's father left his family, not for money problems. It was so that Rachel, Alexander's mother, would not get in trouble for having kids without being married. And it wasn't 10 when that happened. He was actually more of about 11 when it happened. But it was never really recorded how old Alex was when his father left, and his mother died of yellow fever. Then the next part, moved in with his cousin. His cousin committed suicide. Peter Layton was their cousin that took both the brothers in, both Alex and James. And then he killed himself sometimes later, and the estate went to his wife, and she told both of them to leave. And so James, Alex's brother, became a carpenter's apprentice, while Alex was put in the trading charter with his mother's landlord. My bad. And so that's how we got there. But the next part goes, he started retreating and reading every treaty on the shelf. Alex really loved to read. That was one big prominent thing about him. every book he'd get his hands on, he would read. He would do anything to get books, and after his mother died, the estate their house had to get sold, and so one of Alex's friends bought the whole book collection and gave it back to him. So that was a way he was able to keep reading, even though without technically buying any books. Trading sugar cane and rum and all the things he can't afford. He was a very skilled worker in the trade. He was able to do it very easily. And so that's also another reason why they left him in charge for 5 months, because he was good at his job. Next part goes, the bow of the ship, headed for a new land. In New York, you can be a new man. As I said earlier, the leaders all sent him to New York to get his education, and he couldn't get an education there because the church had kicked him and his brother out from being a part of it. Then the next part is sung by, Hercules Mulligan, James Madison, Lafayette, and Thomas Jefferson who are saying these parts, and they're saying we fought for him. And during the actual fighting part of the war, it was Mulligan and Lafayette who were there with him, helping him in the war, being other leaders as Alex was. And then later in his life, Alex helps Madison and Jefferson win the election of 1800. And then the next part is sung by Lawrence and Philip, and it goes, me, I died for him. Lawrence was one of Alexander's best friends during this time in his life. He tragically died during one of the last battles of the war, and Alex was shocked by this. He was hoping him and Lawrence would be able to have a great friendship and great power in this new country they made. And then Philip is Alexander's oldest child, who died in a duel to protect his father's honor 3 years before Alexander died in a duel. And then next part is sung by George Washington, me, I trusted him. Hamilton was Washington's chief of state aide, so he would help him write letters to Congress and take the letters from Congress and tell Washington all the messages. So he was like the head secretary for Washington during the war. The next part is sung by Angelica Schuyler, Eliza Schuyler Hamilton, and Maria Reynolds. And Elizabeth Schuyler was his wife. They were married on December 14th on 1780. Maria Reynolds was a woman who Alexander Hamilton had a affair with, and it was one of the first public affairs that has ever happened in the country, and one of the most widespread during this time. And then Angelica Schuyler was Eliza's sister, and in the musical it kind of hints that they had a little love triangle going on, but in real life it wasn't really that blatant. Angelica and Hamilton were just very good friends. They liked each other, so they just got along, and Angelica was married and had 2 kids by the time she even met Alexander Hamilton. And then the last part of the song is Aaron Burr singing. It says, me, I'm the damn fool who that shot him. Aaron Burr and Hamilton had a duel on July 11th, 1804, and Aaron Burr shot Alexander Hamilton right above his hip, and it paralyzed him. And then the doctor was trying to save him, and he died the very next day on July 12th. And a fun fact is that the same doctor that helped Alexander also tried to save his son Philip 3 years earlier. Thank you for listening to this first episode of the podcast. I'm Michael Weekend. Thank you for listening.